Welcome to Almost 30 Podcast. How's it going?
How's it going?
I was going to say we're so glad you're here, but we've always said that.
Yeah, we should do a new one.
It's old bag. It's old tricks.
So what's the new one? How's it going?
Yeah. How's it going?
You know what we always say?
Doing?
How's it going?
You know our tagline. How's it going? That shows you how cool and relaxed we are. Hey guys, how's it going? Take a breath.
Holy moly.
2020, the year dreams are made of.
Truly. Secretly, maybe they are. I don't know.
Honestly.
I don't know.
Who knows?
Maybe seeds are being planted.
I think I said this before, but I've always said that I knew things had to get really crazy before, we made radical changes in all facets of our existence. But I never, and I knew I'd be alive for it, but I just, when it's here, I'm like, wow.
Oh, I didn't know I'd be alive for it. I'm like, I do wake up some days, I'm like, this is kind of cool. Literally, I know people are suffering all the things and like it is very hard, but it's also like, whoa, we're here for this.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's been quite interesting.
Yeah. I think on that note, it's, taking the higher spiritual perspective of seeing everything as an experience and knowing that on the other side of all the pain, because, we're going through it. Everyone's really going through it, is the opportunity for growth. And that as humans, we need it to be difficult for the most part for us to change. And that's really what's happening, where we're just having everything like leveled out so that we can reestablish our values as humans.
Mm-hmm. What's something right now that you're like, whoa, haven't thought about that?
Dude,
everything.
What have I not thought of? I'm a little curious about the financial system, not collapse, but that reorganization.
Mm-hmm.
Because, it's interesting to think about. It's like, because schools, I can see very clearly how we would shift and change schools. And then, healthcare, I can see clearly, although it would be very challenging, how we could shift and change healthcare to be better. But with financial system, I'm like, damn, how would we do that without money, or without... Like, what would that be? Mm-hmm. I don't know. Like
with big banks and things like that. Like,
and
what
like
would that
the
look
market
like?
And
currency.
Yeah. And real estate and like, yeah, that one's like, whoa, I don't know what that's going to look like.
Because we haven't really, obviously we lived through 2008.
2008. Mm-hmm.
But.
I was in college then. So
it wasn't didn't really, I don't know. It wasn't like a deeply in it. Because we were in college, I feel like there was kind of a bubble.
Yes.
And yeah, I mean, I remember my parents going through it, but they kind of censored what we knew about like the hard times that they were going through. So yeah, I'm curious. I'm definitely curious what that will feel like. But I do think we're getting to a point now where there needs to be that breakdown. Mm-hmm. I'm also curious about, we've heard so many people like kind of moving out of cities and moving to new places and just kind of what that will look like in the next 5-10 years, because truly
put me on a farm.
Let me grow my own food.
Literally put me on a farm in a barn, like as an animal.
Yeah. It's so, because now people are realizing that they can work from home. They are understanding that like in order to like have, a sense of mental health that they really, are like proud of and can be productive in life, requires that rest, that like disconnection from the goings on of every day, especially the internet and being so connected. So I'm just curious what that's going to look like. And I'm hopeful that, there won't be this dependency on these big cities always. I'm not wanting cities to collapse, but it's just an interesting thing to think about, because I think so many young people like flock to the big cities, LA, New York, Boston.
Well, it's where the most opportunity is, so there's just like a lot of different reasons, but it would be nice to spread out.
Yeah.
Everyone just spread out.
Totally.
And it'll be interesting to see where we are.
I know.
Where we move.
I know. I'll be in Antarctica.
Honestly. I don't know where I'll be.
I have this I think I have it saved on my Instagram, as I'm sure a lot of people do. Like this, it's basically this estate in Italy that's like so organically a part of the land, but like fucking chic as hell and so minimal. And I'm like, oh, that's where I'm gonna be. Never been to Italy before, but that's where I'm gonna be.
Here, speak Italian now.
Yeah, don't speak Italian.
Internet? No. We were talking about before this, the Free Britney thing.
Yeah.
Have you guys been, I don't know if you guys have been following that, but say it once, I'll say it again. I've said it for years. When she had her first mental breakdown, it was like, there's so much going on behind the scenes that we don't know about.
Yeah.
And to be someone that is 16 years old, that is like sexualized, that is in the music industry, that is like thrown into like so many considerably dark situations and people and things, I mean, that really can damage someone.
And then to be so successful.
Yes.
And make so much money and have, you know, her own people in her own family kind of, you know, use that as a control mechanism. And it's just been, yeah, I think a lot of you have probably seen Britney's Instagram. And so there is a hashtag that was started, Free Britney. And so upcoming is her conservatorship hearing, which basically, you know, her father and an attorney has control over her entire estate.
Yep.
And from what I hear, and this is allegedly, I don't know if it's fact, but that she gets about $1,500 a week. And, you know, it's monitored, like who comes to visit her. She has to, what she posts on social media is monitored. Everything really. And it's just so sad. And she has two boys, and I think she has maybe like 30% custody or something like that. But
yeah, it was a 12-year, it says it was a 12-year legal arrangement that prevents her from controlling her life and her $59 million fortune. And
I think it's more than that.
Yeah, too. I would think it was more than that. But also too, it's like, this is the whole thing. It's like, so what's so wrong about it? There's so many different levels, is that they control the fortune, you know, the lawyer and her father, and she still works so much.
Well, that's the whole thing. There's a fact, hold on, I'm going to pull it up, that just like blew my mind about the amount of success and money she has made since the conservatorship started.
Don't even.
And how successful she's been. Hold on one second. So basically, okay, y'all, I'm just reading. I don't want to give you the whole thing. So Britney Spears is now a 38-year-old woman who is not allowed to do the following without her father's permission. And they list all of these things: drive a car, get married, have children, spend her own money, etc. But since the conservatorship began 12 years ago, she has released 4 albums, done 3 worldwide tours, did a 4-year Vegas residency, was a full-time judge on X Factor, released multiple perfumes and a lingerie line, made $138 million or so a year, which is just mind-blowing.
Wow.
Mind-blowing.
And she has no control over that. Yeah, that's where it's the real problem. If someone has a mental, you know, if someone has mental issues. I keep getting tripped up on saying mental issues, because mental issues doesn't feel correct.
Yeah, I agree.
But when someone is going through what she's been through and needs such deep healing, it's like, okay, if you're going to be the owner of her money, you got to let her heal. And you're her dad.
I completely agree.
Yo, you're her dad.
I completely agree. It's sad, but I mean, damn, if I kind of saw, like when I saw a video of hers the other day, I kind of saw a little twinkle. Do you know what I mean? When you can kind of see in someone's eyes that they're like there. Do you know what I mean? Yes. Like it was just really, I was like, oh my God, like if Britney is freed and comes back and like feels really good and is just like truly happy and thriving, like that would be a highlight of the year.
Yeah, this post says, so when everyone sees her on Instagram walking up and down her hallways like it's a fashion show, that's all she is allowed to do. She has never had control over her life. I don't care if you personally like her or her music. No one deserves this. All the woman wants to see is her children make music and just live her life. Wow.
They were also talking about, and this is to your point about like being so young and so famous, allegedly when she joined the Mickey Mouse Club, her and Christina Aguilera like joined at the same time, and basically Britney's voice was very much to the caliber and like resonance of Christina Aguilera's at the time as young children, but they didn't want them to sound the same, and so Britney's voice coach was told to basically teach her how to have that kind of like squeaky, like airy voice. And it ruined her voice. And so then she had to lip sync. And then she was contracted to only lip sync, and she couldn't actually sing. Way. Yeah,
that was the period too of like celebrity where they would remember that celebrity period where they were so obsessed and they would follow them around, and that was the celebrity period. I'm like laughing, and it's because it's so fucked up, but it's like when they would look up there to see if they had underwear on. Remember, it'd be like Lindsay Lohan's not wearing panties, Paris Hilton's not wearing panties. How, like honestly, and it'd be like how insane is that?
It's disgusting.
Paparazzi would follow women around and try and get up the skirt shots when they were not wearing underwear? Like, what reality did we grow up in?
I mean,
say it once, say it again. The obsession with them being virgins too.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
I can't.
It's disgusting. There is an interview I think Britney did. Maybe it was in Britain, and there was a question around her virginity, and it was the most uncomfortable thing I've ever seen.
Oh my God,
my
skin is crawling.
You saw her just be like, you know what I mean? Just kind of like leave, and she's just like, oh. But she had to be like, like she had to laugh, right? Like laugh through it. So sad. So praying for Britney. Let's like Almost 30 Nation. Let's pray.
Let's free Britney, bitch.
Britney.
Yes.
So
free
good.
Freaking Britney. There's a hashtag, and then there's something you can sign that I think there's something that you can sign, and if they get enough signatures, that the judge that is going to court with her and her father and the other lawyer will look over when they go to court.
Yes.
So let's sign it, y'all. Free our girl.
Let's put it in the show notes.
Yeah.
We'll have our production team
find that one. This is the movement. This is our call to action. This episode is freaking free Britney. Bless her sweetheart.
Yeah. Love you, Brit. Okay.
Wow, I'm in a vortex.
Yeah, truly in a vortex.
Honestly.
My forehead is pulsing.
Once you go to her Instagram, you honestly get in a vortex.
Yeah. It's a lot.
Sweetheart.
So Thursdays, as you know, are solo episode days. Woo! So whether it's both of us or one of us, we just go a little bit deeper on things that we're thinking about and growing through. And you guys have been really loving them. So thank you for tuning in. This week, I am doing a solo. Had a lot of questions from people about maintaining a long distance relationship. So...
Funny. Sean's been here for 3 months.
I know, literally. Well, that's going to be part of it, where like
the adjustment. Yes. Totally.
Yeah, it's definitely an adjustment, but then also he's like leaving again. And so like what I know now about kind of maintaining what we've built in a very short time, or like
of course
the connection we've had. So
your foundation.
My foundation.
So good. Did you write that?
No.
Oh damn.
Oh no, it's a song. So yeah, I just wanted to give some like really tactical tips, and then just also like some emotional support, because I know a lot of you right now, especially during quarantine and everything going on, you're separated not only from like if you're with a partner, but maybe your family and your friends. Like it can just be hard. So these are really, these can be applied to any relationship that you're just like missing and quite literally long distance with. So hope you enjoy it. And if you have any suggestions for our solo episodes, you know, let us know. You can DM us on Instagram at almost30podcast.
Yeah, we did one on creativity. So expressing your creativity. I've done on body acceptance. We've done, you know, a bunch of different solo episodes, and those are just really deep and personal with us. We love doing them, and we love sharing them with you. So we're really, really excited. And you guys know we got the apparel. The apparel is out. Our collaboration with Danny Daisy LA. It is a very limited quantity apparel line. We have very limited quantities, and we only have, so many of each. And these were done with love. These took so much time for us to design and make sure everything was so soft and cozy and flattering and size inclusive, organic, all the things. So we are so excited about that. Go to Shop Almost 30 and check out these unique one-of-a-kind pieces.
Yeah, I can't wait to see you in them. And this episode is powered by Acuity. Acuity saved our butts in the beginning of this business. So this is basically your 24/7 behind the scenes scheduling assistant. And it is awesome. It links with, Zoom and GoToMeeting. So it makes everything super integrated. It also automates like invoices and reminders, confirmations, and it'll even reschedule either guests or clients for you without you even thinking about it.
That's the best part is when we use Acuity for everything, but when people also use Acuity that I can use with them and I need to reschedule, it's like the easiest thing.
Yeah, it's so great. So for our listeners, and this is limited time only, you can get 45 days of Acuity scheduling absolutely free, no credit card required, by going to acuityscheduling.com/almost30. So it's acuityscheduling.com/almost30 will get you 45 days free of Acuity, absolutely free. Enjoy this episode.
Shop Almost 30 for the apparel and any workshops that you want to grab your Podcast Pro for people that want to start a podcast. And then all things are at Almost 30 Podcast.
Love you.
Love ya.
Hey everyone, welcome to the pod. If you're watching on YouTube, I have our new merch on. Just wanted to rep it. I'm wearing our Not Alone sweatshirt. It's comfy as hell. I'm glad you're here. This is a solo episode. It's going to be very punchy and tactical and pretty personal. So I've gotten a lot of questions from all of you out there about my long distance relationship. Ironic, and I think Krista joked about this in the intro, that he's been here for the last 3 months, so we haven't been long distance. But it's really interesting because he's going to go back to New York and we are going to start the next chapter of long distance. And I've just learned so much about what's important about the long distance period of a relationship. I do want to say off the bat that these tips will be really helpful, not only for a romantic relationship, but also for a long distance friendship, family. And I know during this time when quarantine is a thing, we can't really travel as easily as we used to or see the people that we really love as often as we'd like. And so I believe that you can take these tips and apply them to any long distance relationship. It might take writing these down and then reflecting on how it applies to you, but I do think that they can apply not only to romantic relationships, but this is kind of the perspective that I'm using as I just make these really, really clear and tactical. So I just want to start off by sharing that in my experience, I always thought distance makes the heart grow fonder. So a long distance relationship should be just in itself, the fact that we're far apart will make me miss someone more, make when we see each other next even better, kind of all of these surface assumptions, which, can happen. Absolutely 1000%. But I do think that this time that you are away from someone you care about is really productive and can build a solid foundation for when you are in the same place, whether that means you eventually are in the same place forever or the next time you see that person and you spend quality time with them. I just think it really enhances the relationship and the connection. So what I now understand is that absence forces your communication to get better. That's the new quote that I'm using. And I say force because sometimes it feels like that. Sometimes it's oh my God, this is hard. I'm uncomfortable. I'm truly being seen by someone I love and I'm not being seen in the best light. Help me, right? Get me out of here. And it can be so overwhelming and have been some of my biggest growth moments in this relationship that I'm in. And I will say we were long distance for about 7 months before he came here to LA. So I learned a lot about our individual communication styles. And I learned a lot about the about communication and partnership. We're both very independent, but I just learned so much about what I was bringing to the table, what stories I was bringing, what subconscious programming I was bringing. And it is a constant learning. I don't know if we ever truly arrive, but just so long as we are open, compassionate, not only with that other person, but with ourselves, I do think it can be like really, really beautiful and fulfilling. So let's get into the tips. Here we go. First one, communicate as much or as little as you need. And I think this really requires an honest conversation about what type of communication you as an individual prefers. And then asking that partner, that friend, that family member, like, what cadence and type of communication do you prefer? So is it phone? Is it text? Is it FaceTime? Is it scheduled? Is it shorter increments? Is it one long increment of communication? Is it throughout the day, or is it bookending the day? Just being very specific. You might have completely different preferences of communication. And in that case, I would recommend from my experience is trying both out, and seemingly what tends to happen is like you meet in the middle. So, as you learn about your partner, your friend, your family, you'll learn their daily cadence. So maybe they are totally unavailable to talk from 9 to 5. And so is it important to you that maybe you start and end the day connecting with them? How long does that take? Do they tend to need preparation to start their workday? So you don't want to eat into that. Like, this involves asking like kind of annoying, nitty-gritty questions. And maybe like it takes the sexy out of it a little bit, but it really helps to set very clear expectations so that we don't make assumptions, and so that we're not disappointed, and so that we're not like upset. And so, yeah, communicate about schedules, communicate about your needs. Like, sometimes like there are some weeks where I do feel a little bit needy, and maybe and what I've done is just been like, I need like a little bit more, love and communication this week. Not that he doesn't love me like every other day, but it's like, I just need like a little bit more communication, words, texts, calling me from you. So often that like is connected to my cycle. So there's that. And sometimes, we'll just have texted all day, and I really want to see his face. So it's like, hey, tomorrow I'd love to just FaceTime you in the morning. And just, I think, especially with the male energy, there is this like linearness. So it's actually comforting for them to know, okay, so I'm gonna talk to my partner at like 8 a.m. and we're gonna FaceTime, and I know it's gonna be 15 minutes, rather than kind of this like nebulous time, this nebulous length of time. I think at least in the beginning, make it pretty direct and scheduled, and as I said, kind of nitty gritty. And then you'll kind of like, you'll dip into a flow that feels more natural. So trust that beginning where it's like, oh man, this is not sexy. But then you'll begin to learn more about one another. And then if you kind of lean outside of what you had scheduled or planned for, it kind of feels exciting. And again, communication throughout is so important. So like what's working and what's not. And feel free to like express that. Hey, I just wanted to let you know that, it doesn't really work for me when we're like FaceTiming the hour before bed, because I'm really trying to like shut off, right? It kind of gives me like the screen time gives me a headache. So I'd love to FaceTime you like 2 hours before we go to bed, and like take that half hour to be really intentional about what we talk about, what we catch up about, the questions we ask, etc. Okay. Tip 2. I love this one. It's really, it takes intention, it takes attention, and I haven't always been good at this, but I think I'm getting better at this. Weave moments of their day into yours. And this does not mean, distract from what you have to do. This quite literally means setting reminders to text or call to check in about something that's happening, is happening in their day. So maybe they have an important meeting at 10 and it's sending a message at like 9:30 and just saying, hey, thinking about you. I know you have a meeting coming up. Go get them, right? Like it could be so simple, but I think that, the key there is not expecting that text back right away. It's sending out that connection where it's like, I'm thinking of you. And so for me, I put it in my calendar. I'm like, reminder, Sean has a meeting. It's important. Text him like a prayer, good luck, whatever it is. And I don't know if it's subconscious, but for me, I'm like, oh, wow, they're thinking about me. They care. Even if it's like, hey, I'm thinking about you. I love you. Even if it's to your mom, your dad, your sister. Hey, I'm thinking about you. I love you. Like, how special is that when you receive a text like that? Come on. Or even an email. I think an email is kind of fun and special. Sean and I send emails to each other sometimes. And that in this day and age is different than a text, right? So it could just be a longer form of your thoughts and why you're thinking about them. And even though it's like still connected to technology, it might be like a natural thing you can do during the day. And so just thinking outside of the box in that way, knowing that maybe he's going to be in his inbox all day. And maybe it's just like he or she, it's like a subject line that's like, hi, I love you. And then the body of it is like 3 reasons why I love you. I know this is cheesy. I'm looking at myself in our little camera thing. This is on YouTube. And I'm like, you are cheesy, but it comes from the heart. It's real. It matters, right? I think we've kind of lost those really simple moments. And so I think a long distance relationship really allows you to bring those back. And it's really nice. Okay, tip number 3, making sure that when you do connect, it's intentional connection, that you're 100% there. And it's okay, like just passing in the day. If it's like, hey, what's up? Good. How's lunch? Good. Okay. Yeah, I have to run in the next meeting. I just wanted to hear your voice. Sure. That can totally happen, but I don't know. I think what compounds over time are those conversations where both people are completely present. They're not multitasking. They're not anticipating the next thing they have to do. And this really requires scheduling time. So what I've done with Sean at times is, we'll do like a date night when we're long distance. And so we know that on a Friday night, we're going to FaceTime for like an hour and a half. And during that time, that's all we're doing, right? I think, other times we can be multitasking, but as long as we both know that hour is for us to catch up, to connect on, we've been asking each other like really deep questions. I'm going to link those in the show notes. And yeah, we designate time so that we are 100% there. I think it's fuel. It's fuel for the rest of the week when things can get crazy and distracting and unfocused. I do think like a really beautiful, intentional phone date, FaceTime date, whatever it is, where you guys are not distracted and just so connected can be fuel for the next week. If there are things that are unpredictable and happen and intervene with your normal communication. So intentional connection. Okay, next tip. It's hard in a long distance relationship at times. I've found that I've had moments when he wants to like do his normal life stuff, like hang out with friends or maybe like go on a run or, what else can we do in quarantine? Not that he's hanging out with friends in quarantine, but just like kind of normal life stuff, like hobbies and things he would have normally done without me in the picture. At times, because of the long distance, I was a bit greedy with the amount of time that I wanted from him. And what I found felt so much better to me and obviously to him was really supporting him in his interests. So if he's like, yeah, I'm going to go, I'm planning to go see the boys. We're going to like take a walk, whatever, and like just kind of catch up for a few hours. And instead of thinking like, oh man, that's during the time that I was like hoping that we would talk, it's so much about thinking that's important to him too, right? It's like, it's hard in a long distance relationship not to think that you're like the most important thing, right? Because sometimes it makes you feel better because the distance is hard in itself. So it's supporting his interests, things he wants to do. And that goes for any relationship where it's like really just supporting and just being like, yeah, go for it. Like, and it also, recovering people pleaser here and wanting to, make sure everyone's comfortable and satisfied. Like, it actually gives me permission to go do that thing that I've been wanting to do. I tend to, put some things to the side that maybe I need to do or want to do because I want to spend time with him and I want to do both things. But sometimes I tend to latch on to, but I have to talk to him. Like, we're in a long distance relationship. We have to maintain this without just like relaxing into the fact that like, if this is for the long term, which it is, it's like, let me just relax into this reality. Like, let me not hold on so tight and so desperately as if he's going to like turn around and run away. Like, just really allow both of us to be free within relationship. So that was a really important one that I learned early on, and really consistently try hard to maintain. So supporting that person's interests, and ideally it supports your interests as well. Okay, here's another one. Next one is making a playlist that you guys can share. I know it's kind of funny, but it's so sweet. So a best friend, even a family member, and especially like a romantic partner, creating a playlist. I use Spotify that you both can contribute to. And it's kind of fun to see like, oh, like you put in a few new songs, and we have like a playlist of over 150 songs right now. And anytime I'm missing him, like especially the times when I can't talk to him, I just put on that playlist and I swear to you, I feel so much better. I just feel so good. I'm like, oh, I'm loved. He put this song in here. He was thinking of me, right? So I think making a playlist, being able to dance and move to it and just like be in that feeling of like what your relationship means and how it makes you feel is just so special. Music is so healing. Music just accesses parts of us that I don't know if we can do with our brains. So make that playlist. Okay. Next tip, focus on the positive. It's easy to focus on the negative. Oh my God, I haven't seen you in like 60 days. Or man, this is so hard. It's so easy for our brains to focus on the negative, to protect us, to tell us like, hey, you probably shouldn't be doing this. This is too hard. But it's really helped me to focus on the positive. I mean, damn, I just got 3 months with him in person. He's going to, be going back to New York. And there's a part of me that's like, wait, I'm sad. But I'm also like, damn, I got 3 months. That was fucking amazing. I would have never had that with him, especially in this first year together. And I've learned so much. We saw each other every single day. And so focusing on that, focusing on the fact that we are both like super independent and doing our thing. And instead of saying like, oh man, he's always so busy. I'm always so busy. What the heck? Just like, yeah, the energy goes where the focus is, right? And so if you want to create more of what's uncomfortable and painful, yeah, focus your energy there. But I really want to focus my energy on what's like so fucking good about this. So just check yourself, even if you're going to write down maybe the thoughts that are running through your mind or the things that come out of your mouth in conversation with this person. I miss you so much. Like, it's so hard. Maybe it's just like, wow, I miss you so much. Like, I just It's because I care about you. How lucky am I to be in a relationship or have a friendship where I just care about the person so much, right? It's easy to flip. So in whatever way you need to, write down, say out loud, flip it in the moment and see how that feels. Okay. Next tip. Long distance is a really great period of time, great season to bring up things that you'd like to work through. There's like a directness and honesty that a long distance relationship requires because you don't have like the in-person body language, feeling, perception. So I just think it's been a great way for me to work that communication muscle, like big time. Communication, and just saying how I feel and not worrying about how it comes off and just really speaking from my heart, not my head. Really just saying like, hey, like when you said this is how I felt. And I just want to understand more deeply, like where your heart was at. And I just would love to express like how it made me feel and like what it's bringing up for me. And we've done this a lot and it's not always easy, y'all. Like it's definitely not easy, but there is a levity on the other side of these conversations that, man, oh man, I've just grown so much. So really use this time to bring up those things. And if it means like doing it during your scheduled time, so it's not like springing it on the person, like in a random moment during the day, it's like maybe on that Friday date night or that like friendship hang on Saturday afternoon on FaceTime. It's just like, you know, designating that time to go deeper. That's been really, really helpful. And then this is especially for people in a long distance romantic relationship, but it might be helpful to talk about a long-term plan because I think if we swim in this like season of ambiguity and you're like, where is this going? Like, where is this taking me? Not to say that you need to know exactly how it's going to turn out, but to have a plan is so helpful emotionally, physically, spiritually. When there's kind of a next thing, it really helps quell any anxiety. And again, that's not to say it won't turn out differently, but I do think it also grounds me in like, okay, we're both on the same page. And I think that's what a plan is really important for in a romantic relationship, is to just reestablish that you're on the same page. I've had so many friends in relationships where they're like, yeah, we've been together like 5 years and I don't really know, like, I don't know if he wants to get married. I don't know if we're going to do this. I say he, I mean he, she, whoever your partner is. And, you know, I feel for them. I'm not saying it's bad, but it does create a little bit of anxiety around like, hey, are we on the same page? Like, do we want the same things? You know, assuming that the friend I'm talking about like wants to get married or maybe move in together, whatever that looks like. I just think like recognizing what pages you are on will help to make the next right step and show up for the relationship from the heart rather than from the head and overthinking and assuming, right? The goal is always to be coming from the heart within relationship. Always the goal. How we doing? So that was it. I'm going to review. First tip, communicate as much or as little as you need. Got to know your partner's, friend, family's communication style, cadence, all of that. Be really honest and try it out. Maybe it's a matter of experimentation. 2, weave in moments of their day into yours so you can reach out and be like, hey, thinking of you. I know you have a presentation right now. You can set reminders on that. 3, intentional connection where you're 100% there. That might not be all the time, but try to do it at least once a week. 4, love them by supporting their interests. So whether, you know, they want to go on a solo trip and disconnect for a few days, or they want to hang out with friends, or, you know, go to their intramural soccer game, like instead of thinking that it's taking away time from connecting with them, just really supporting them and rooting them on because it gives you permission to do your thing too. 5, create a playlist where you can both contribute. contributing songs that make you think of one another. It's amazing. 6, focus on the positive. I know it's simple, but damn, do it in the moment. Catch yourself. Flip it. Bring up the things you'd like to work through. This is a time to be super direct and honest. Like, let's work our communication muscle. I'm working on it. Not perfect, but I'm working on it. And 7, talk about a long-term plan. It just establishes that you're both on the same page. And if you're not on the same page, it's okay. It's not the end. It's just like, at least you know, and there is awareness around where you guys are. Okay. This is good, y'all. I'm excited to hear from you. And I'd love to know how these tips are helping you and what you've taken from this episode. And I can answer any questions on Instagram at Lindsey Simcik. You can also DM at almost30podcast. Check us out on YouTube. We have videos up there now. We're trying our best. We're new to the YouTube scene in terms of video, but check it out. And again, we have our merch out. It's something we're super proud of. So thank you, as always, for supporting. Thank you for holding space for me as I learn, grow, and evolve. It's not always easy, especially in a public setting. So thank you. And I'm always here for you. I'll talk to you guys soon.